Today marks 1 year since the death of 22-year-old Mahsa and the start of an Iranian protest movement that was brutally crushed by authorities. Amini died in the custody of Iran's morality police on September 16, 2002. She was detained for allegedly wearing her hijab improperly. On Friday, the U.S. marked the anniversary by announcing a raft of new sanctions against Iranian individuals and entities, joined by the UK, Australia, and Canada. Now, demonstrations that erupted inside Iran after Amini's death went on for months, but were suppressed by the regime over time. The new sanctions specifically target those involved in that crackdown. Azadeh Pourzand is a human rights researcher and senior fellow at the Center for Middle East and Global Order, and she joins me now from London. I really want to welcome you to the program, which I am sure is a terribly hurtful day for so many in Iran. You know, this whole thing began with Mahsa Amini, but it did not end there. Thousands of Iranian protesters and their families have been brutalized or worse, murdered. They are demanding new freedoms still. How do we take stock of these protests 1 year on?
Yes, thank you for having me on this show on this very special day. In the past year, as we all know, the Islamic Republic's regime decided not only not to meet the protesters at the very least halfway, but to basically, what it does best, which is using various repression tools against anybody who expresses grievances, as well as not shying away from opening fire on protesters, bystanders, detaining them, torturing them, harassing the families of victims and prisoners, using surveillance methods to further restrict compulsory bail laws and regulations and punitive measures. And the list goes on. Year on, as we hear today from on the ground, Mahsa Amini's hometown is essentially completely militarized. All the entry points to the city have been shut down. And similar anecdotes are coming from the capital and other cities where the regime is preemptively and heavily sort of armed, ready, and hoping that all of this would prevent people from coming to the streets.
You know, I have to say I misspoke at the top. It's September 16th, 2022, not 2002. Of course, it is the 1 year anniversary. And a CNN investigation earlier this year found that a network of black sites were used by Iran to perpetrate torture and abuses on protesters on a mass scale. And then there's this report from Amnesty International that says documentation reveals that state agents used rape and other sexual violence, including electric shocks to genitals, touching genitals, and rape threats as a weapon against child detainees to break their spirits, humiliate and punish them, and/or extract confessions. You know, I want to ask you again, that is dozens of children. The Amnesty International, backed up by the UN, says dozens of children may have also died. I mean, I have to ask you, in context of all of this, has the repression worked?
In my opinion, no, the repression has not worked. And also, let's not forget, the repression of the Islamic Republic's regime did not start the day after Mahsa Amini's death in custody. It's over 4 decades that the Iranian people are standing up against a government that simply does not believe in any sort of freedom and easily kills and tortures and detains those that believes would have any kind of mobilization power against it. As you said, this is a regime that kills children, not only kills children, but then detains and harasses the families of these children who speak up. Therefore, yes, if you're talking about street level protests and large numbers, it is using all the techniques it has in order to I think, bites of time. If you're talking about the spirit of dissent and the scale and the scope of dissatisfaction, deep dissatisfaction and anger of the Iranian people, seeking their rights, justice, and a real change, a regime change, I don't believe that any level of repression will work at this point. And it's only about a matter of time, in my opinion.
And it's interesting that you say that, because there are reports from inside Iran that many women are daring again to show their hair, to wear what they want. Are you also hearing those kinds of reports from inside Iran?
Absolutely. And it's, in my opinion, it shows not only the violent nature of the Islamic Republic's regime, but also the feeling of and the fact that they feel threatened by women, and the way they are going about their dissent, as not adhering to the compulsory veil, as some of your reports have also indicated, and we have spoken on the ground. The Islamic Republic has increased the scale and the scope of the punitive measures against quote unquote not adhering to complete compulsory veil. Hefty fines, prison sentences, peculiar sentences such as having to wash dead bodies or clean governmental buildings, being expelled from universities, losing their jobs, asking service providers, such as bank managers, bus drivers, not to allow women on or to provide services to women who are not adhering to the compulsory veil. There is a bill currently close to being passed in order to further legalize and institutionalize basically a regime of sort of socio-economic as well as civil political rights sanctions against women who are not adhering to full compulsory veil. In my opinion, this shows not only the violent nature of the Islamic Republic, but its absolute weakness and despair at this point.
We will have to leave it there for now, but I appreciate you coming on with your perspective as the entire world now remembers 1 year since Mahsa Amini died. Azadeh Pourzand from London, thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.